going on with these people?
So when I was in law enforcement, I worked on the SWAT team, and we had canines assigned to our team. Joe, I can't ever remember us looking for someone with a dog and the dog didn't find the person.
Right.
I have 1,200 to 1,500 cases where they bring a canine to find a missing person and the dog can't track, won't track, or turns around, comes down and sits down and is not interested in tracking.
But there's a few cases. And one of them you covered was a guy, I believe he was from Canada, that went skiing in New York. And he went missing. And then he showed up 2,500 miles later in California with his ski clothes on. And he didn't know what happened.
Yeah, that was, he was a fireman from, I think, Toronto that went with a bunch of friends to New York on like a weekend ski trip. And the guys were all getting together at the end of the day to leave. They couldn't find him. He says he wakes up on a truck traveling from like Reno to Sacramento.
Woke up in the back of a truck?
No, sitting in the front seat. And he said that he was, as he wakes up, he's talking. It's not like he was asleep and woke up. It's like his mind suddenly flashed open. Hey, you're alive now. You can keep talking. And he goes, but I was talking to the driver and we're traveling. The driver drops him off at Sacramento Airport. He doesn't remember anything, but he remembers his home phone number. He calls his wife in Toronto and she goes, hey, everyone's searching for you, thinking you're still at the ski resort. He has all the ski clothes on.
How many days later?
I don't remember. But even he doesn't make sense of it. He doesn't know how he got in the truck. The truck driver left. Nobody knows who the truck driver was.
We know about telepathy, and they say, well, one time, and we're submerged, we're under maneuvers, a crewman wakes up from a dream and goes to the commander and says, we need to surface because something bad has happened at home. Well, we can't. We're under maneuvers. Next time we can surface, well, then you can call home. So the next time they surface, they call home, and sure enough, when the sailor woke up from his dream, there was indeed something bad happening at home. So both of the commanders had the same story. So I said, well, does this happen like every Tuesday? No, there were no false positives. It happened once, and both times it was good things. But the other one was this presentiment experiment. So I ran that experiment, and it was unbelievably good. Like it's normally you have little statistical effects. This is like in your face, holy smoke, this is a big thing. Big presentiment effects. Like if skin conductance, 1.5 seconds before you press a button, you wait 5 seconds. Then it selects a picture. So 1.5 seconds before the picture is selected, if it's emotional, you start to become emotional. If it's calm, you remain calm. So that difference beforehand we call the presentiment effect. It's your body somehow or unconscious knowing what you're about to see. Just like approaching a light and slowing down. Something is telling you something. Well, just like today, people would see apparitions. They would have the sense that there were telepathic connections between people. They'd have precognitions. And there was the beginning of figuring out ways of using experimental science to be able to study these things under controlled conditions. And the word control is important because it means you exclude coincidence by the design, and you exclude leakage of information. You exclude all kinds of things. So the only thing left over is if that telepathic thing was real, then we'd be able to see it in the lab. And the short story is, yeah, so we're now 150 years past that, and we have very, very strong evidence that telepathy does exist.
So what was the enormous amount of money and a considerable amount of time studying remote viewing? Like, why? Why would they invest that much time in nonsense?
Right.
Why would they invest that much time in something where there's no evidence whatsoever and they've never achieved positive results? That doesn't seem to be correct.
No.
If you listen to the stories of the guys like Hal Puthoff and all these different people that have been involved in these remote viewing experiments, they had actionable data that they derived specifically from remote viewing. I don't understand it. I've never done it. I've never attempted it. I don't know if I can do it. I did it once.
It's one of these doors open again. How would you like to go to Princeton? Because at Princeton at the time was the Princeton Engineering Anomalies Research Laboratory. It was a lab doing psi research that was headed by the dean of the School of Engineering. And so that lab went almost for 30 years, doing mind-matter interaction, doing remote viewing, and a bunch of other stuff at Princeton. So my position was in the psych department, so I said, well, could I get all the data, as much as you have, on jackpots for slot machines and also the table games? And a miracle occurred, and she said, yeah. So she gave us the data, was able to analyze it, and among other things found that jackpots happen more often and payouts were larger, and table games did better between one or plus or minus 1 day from the full moon, which, by the way, matches magical lore. I mean, it all.
So, when you think of consciousness, do you think that we, as individual biological entities, are interacting with consciousness and with different levels of achieving like certain aspects of consciousness? Some of it being genetic, some of it being life experience, education, training, but that we're just these individual biological entities that are tapping into whatever consciousness is.
Yes and no, but you see the subtitle, How the Mind Weaves the Fabric of Reality. So I'm viewing this as consciousness and the physical world are like a tapestry. They're both necessary for our understanding of reality, and they're weaved together. They're both part of it. You can't have just